Welcome, everybody. It is Monday, January 31st, 2022. It is 6:05. We're in the National North Boardroom, and I'm calling this Board of Education meeting to order. Ms. Raymond, can you do roll call?
Sure. Oh.
Of course. Ms. Darling?
Here.
Oh, poor thing. Mr. Claffey?
Here.
Ms. Giglio?
Here.
Ms. Raymond is here. Ms. Lampier?
Here.
Ms. Brown?
Here.
Ms. Ziem?
Here.
Ms. Johnson?
Present.
Ms. Bishop? Here. All right, we also have Dr. McKinney, Dr. Sarfty, Mr. Parker, Mr. Donovan. Oh, we didn't leave you a chair, did we? Oh, you got one. Okay. Ms. Carey. And then we also have Ms. Ballou. I said it wrong, didn't I? Oh, okay. Ms. Mahaney, Ms. Coffey, Mr. Argyropoulos, and Ms. English. Did I miss anybody else presenting tonight? Oh, and Ms. Hines. Welcome. That's all. Oh, I know, I'm sorry, Mr. Sahu and Mr. Rogers, right? Yes.
Here.
Just waiting for you to do your notes, and then I'm going to ask you to do the prayer. Okay. Trying not to rush. Thank you. I know I put a lot of... You know, it would be great if some of these other things were written in here. Okay. Okay. If everybody is ready. Almighty God, we have the high honor and the serious duty of managing the educational institutions of our beloved city. In our common endeavors, may we find a spirit of unity and understanding, which will enable us to face our multiple problems with an objective mind, with justice and charity for all, so that any and all decisions made by us will be for the betterment and greater happiness of all of our fellow citizens. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Ms. Brown, will you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And to start off our night, we are going to be seeing a presentation from Charlotte Ave. Ms. Ballou and Ms. Mahaney. It's your floor. We need the PowerPoint to go down?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to scoot over.
I'll make it work.
Here.
Oh, Dan knows how.
There's nothing else in this chair.
No, I'll just push my body this way.
I'm just going to move down here.
In elegant and professional fashion.
Can I just say while that's coming down, how much I love the artwork that your students provided for us this month. It's been wonderful coming in here and seeing it every time. So thank you, and please thank your art teacher. She's amazing.
All right, so we began, we knew when we returned to school that we'd see behaviors and classroom management challenges. Our students were eager to see each other again. They had a craving for meaningful and rich interaction with friends and their teachers. But being used to being home, the traditional classroom was very overwhelming. We saw gaps in students learning both academically and in the area of social and emotional learning. Students struggled with social skills. Our goal was to focus on building up a learning community through social and emotional learning. Research reveals time and time again that students with social and emotional skills perform better academically, have stronger relationships with peers and teachers, and experience a greater well-being. We know that before any other learning can be effective, students and educators need to feel safe, a sense of belonging, cared for, and loved. Students all began the year without the stamina needed, engagement needed, and we needed to make progress. The first few weeks of school, teachers had many discussions with their class about rules and expectations. All behaviors were modeled and reinforced. Our goal was to create opportunities to help children cope with the problems and adapt to issues so they're successful in school.
Which brings us to introducing the zones of regulation to our student body. As many of you know, in the Nashua School District, we use the zones of regulation, and they're being taught and modeled in classrooms. The zones create a systematic approach to teach students to identify emotions and ways to self-regulate. The framework is designed to help move students toward more independent regulation while honoring and respecting each child's unique self. We looked at office referrals and students who would benefit from a personalized student toolbox of different strategies to reset and refocus on learning to maximize these opportunities. Everyone encounters adversity that tests our limits from time to time. If we are able to recognize when we are becoming less regulated, we are able to do something about it to manage our feelings and get ourselves to a healthy place. In supporting students both in the classroom setting and one-on-one, we are seeing students identify and utilize strategies in their toolboxes that work for them.
Our kindergarten and first graders came in with lagging skills. Remember, they were just 3 and 4-year-old when COVID hit. They missed many opportunities to socialize and learn how to interact with friends. We are fortunate to have the YMCA Superhero Training Academy come in. Kindergarten's been participating and first grade will be next. They focus on the core values of honesty, responsibility, respect, and caring. It provided common language for both teachers and students to utilize.
For our older students, we saw the need to empower them in our learning community. This started our initiative for our Leadership Roles Board for students. Staff members created jobs throughout the building for 4th and 5th grade students to apply for. The goal was to develop life skills to students and create a culture of student empowerment based on the idea that every child can be a leader. The many applications we received was for the custodial support position. Well sought out position to help our custodial staff remove scuff marks throughout the hallways. The office assistants. These kiddos supported the secretaries with daily duties around the office, including dismissal. That was another favorite. Chorus captains. Supported the music teacher, Mrs. Lincoln, with operating the chorus for over 50 students. The book closet organizer supported our reading specialist, Mrs. O'Connor, with organizing instructional independent text returned by staff. Library managers were probably our biggest lifesavers this year for Mrs. McKnight, who was not able to have her typical volunteers in the school. These students were able to check in books, stock books, and help the library with its daily function. They also set up and helped take down the book fair, which, as many of you know, is a tall task considering it's typically completed by many adults.
We know there's scientific research that proves that teaching evidence-based social and emotional learning strategies in the classroom significantly benefits all students. We continue to focus on the Choose Love curriculum, which is based on fun, easy-to-learn foundation of 4 basic character values, which is the Choose Love formula. Courage, gratitude, forgiveness, compassion, and action is Choose Love. Classrooms work through activities to teach strategies for understanding and managing emotions, setting and achieving positive goals, establishing and maintaining positive relationships, and making responsible decisions. This is an example of the 5th grade project where they identified things they were grateful for. 1st and 3rd grade have examples where they were, it's a gratitude mug and a gratitude pouch, where students are mindful about who they're thanking, what their abilities to be thankful for. Even when life is challenging, students can review what's in their pouch and remember there's a lot to be thankful for. Students identified traits for self-awareness and friendship in this quilt.
So then, with students coming back from winter break, we wanted to review the different character traits in the Choose Love formula. Each week we focused on a different trait, giving us the spotlight in January for Choose Love. Teachers nominated students from each class that exemplify these traits in the classroom. The goal was to promote positive character traits in all students, and we can say we're 3/4 of the way there, and many kids are so proud of their character-building skills. Speaking of Mrs. Durden, we wanted to include some pieces in here so you can see how arts are being integrated with social emotional learning and also the curriculum standards. Mrs. Durden has given us an array of artwork from kindergarten to grade 5. She's constantly pushing students to make the connection between their general ed curriculum and the arts. Tricky part because it's got the video.
If you've been in our building, you've seen different murals that Ms. Durden has taken time to paint. These are her new murals. It's the Seasons of New Hampshire. She selected specific quotes to go along with each one. It just really, I think, brings the school to a friendly place. The kids feel comfortable. The adults that are allowed in. It's nice to see the different components that she's put together. And we're just going to end with Helen Keller said, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. So it's important that we build our communities.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was very nice to see. Thank you. And next up, we have Fairgrounds Middle School with Miss Coffey, Mr. Argyropoulos, and Miss English.
Good evening. I am Sharon Coffey, principal of Fairgrounds Middle School. Thank you for having us this
Is
evening.
the green light on there? Sorry.
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Let me start over? Or Can I start over? Or you?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Joining me this evening are the officers of our student council and their advisors. As we've mentioned, Mr. Argyropoulos is one of the advisors. He's a 7th grade science teacher. Ms.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Jimmy's miming in the back that we can't. Can you get the microphone just closer to your mouth?
How's that?
Can you just get closer to the microphone, please? Thank you.
That's a frustrating.
All set?
Sorry. Yes.
Usually people tell me they can't, they always have an easy time hearing me because I speak so loud. Okay. So joining me this evening are the students, the officers of the student council and their advisors. Mr. Argyropoulos is a 7th grade science teacher. Ms. English is an 8th grade science teacher. Keegan Dolan is our student council president. Divya Ravel is our student council vice president. Caroline Kelly is the spirit coordinator. And Rory Goodwin is the community service director. We've always had an active student council at Fairgrounds, and this year is no exception. They've worked very hard with great enthusiasm and creativity, but despite not being able to do some of the activities that have been done in the past because of COVID restrictions. I'd also like to credit Mr. Argyropoulos and Ms. English for their leadership and guidance of the students. This is their first year as the advisors, and they are doing a fantastic job. Now we're going to hear from the students.
Hi, my name is Keegan Dolan. I am the FMS Student Body President.
Hi, my name is Divya Ravel, and I'm the FMS Vice President.
I'm Caroline Kelly. I'm the FMS Spirit Coordinator.
I'm Rory Goodwin. I am the FMS Community Service Director. In October, we had Breast Cancer Awareness Week. For 3 days, we sold over 500 bracelets. All of our profits went to breast cancer research. One day, the entire school dressed up in pink to support the fundraiser and help spread awareness.
In December, we started collecting socks for the less fortunate. We built our own collection bins and then decorated them. We advertised strongly by making posters and making announcements over the intercom. Because of this, we collected over 600 pairs of socks. During this fundraiser, we paired with Katie's Closet, a nonprofit with a mission focused on making sure children and families have essential items. Kids in need can pick up clothing, toiletries, and other essential items free of charge. Overall, the sock drive was a very successful fundraiser.
The Humane Society Drive. The Humane Society Drive has been a passion project of mine since I was in 3rd grade. As a person who's always had animals and knowing fellow classmates feel the same, this is a great project for us to give back. Our goals would be to donate as much as we can to the Humane Society. How it works. We would be collecting food, blankets, toys, and other necessities for the animals at the Nashua Humane Society. This spring is when we would be executing it. I'm sorry.
FMS updates. Spirit Week is a fun way to get our school interacting with Student Council. We usually hold the Spirit Week before breaks as a way of getting everyone excited. We held the Spirit Week before Christmas break and before Halloween. The majority of our students participate. We take photos of them dressed up in crazy socks or PJs and put them in the yearbook as a way of remembering the festivities. Along with dressing up, we also plan a series of school-wide fun games and activities to engage students throughout the week. Veterans Day. During Veterans Day this year, all 4 of us spoke at an assembly held and facilitated by Student Council. We got to tell the story of Veterans Day and honor the veterans in our community, like parents and teachers who have formerly served.
Thank you for your time. We are excited for a successful rest of the year.
Thank you guys so much. It's so great to hear all of the wonderful things that you're doing for the school and for the community. Thank you. Are we done with the mix? Yeah, you guys, if you don't want to hang out, you don't have to, but thank you so much for coming.
I think Ms. Hines was going to need it again as well.
Ms. Hines, did you want to go now or at the end? I was gonna ask that question.
It's so great to see the students coming and talking. I love it. I've been so impressed with some of the Nashua students I've met. I wish I had that kind of confidence when I was in class for years. In the 20s or 60s. Yeah. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Floor is yours, Ms. Hines. Yeah.
Sorry, point of order. Do we need to vote to take things out of order, Ms. Bishop?
I guess that would be best.
Then I move, oh,
Go ahead.
I was going to move to take things out of order and move Ms. Hines's presentation from unfinished business to now.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, seeing none. I do have to go by roll call order because we have people on the phone. So on the motion to take things out of order, Ms. Darling?
Here, yes.
Mr. Claffey?
Yes.
Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
Ms. Raymond is a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Seem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for indulging me.
Sorry, Ms. Hines, now the floor is yours.
I wasn't expecting that. Thank you very much. Oh, we need your mic on.
Oh, it's not on. Okay, now we're on. Thank you very much. I wasn't expecting that. That's very gracious of you. My name is Stacy Hines. I'm Director of Communications for the Nashua School District, and I'm here to basically report back to you on the communication audit which was conducted a year ago. The audit was conducted by Jackson, Jackson, and Wagner, which was a public relations firm from Rye, New Hampshire. They have worked with us in previous years. In fact, they worked with us 15 years ago, the last time we did a communication audit. And I provided them with all samples of all the ways we communicate, whether it be from all three levels, whether it would be our copies of emails, videos we produce, voice messages, poster and lawn signs, letters from the superintendent, letters from the principals, and programming information from Nashua ETV. And Jackson, Jackson, and Wagner monitored our school district website, the school websites, and our Twitter account. So all in all, the overall plan was to keep going with our plan to keeping stakeholders well-informed in a disciplined and strategic manner as much as possible. Specifically, this audit really had a focus on social media because obviously in the last 15 years, the evolution of social media has been widespread, very much commonplace. And several years ago, in response to the demand, we launched our school district Twitter account and really activated it and increased it as a means to deliver news, school district news as well as school news. And it's really a very, as you all well know, who are Twitter users and Twitter followers, very concise, very in-the-moment way to communicate about what's happening in our schools or for timely messages we need to get out. And our recent focus that really came to light with the communication audit is to communicate in Twitter in the three more common languages spoken among our families, English being the first, then Spanish, and then Portuguese. And we're looking to expand that even further as much as we can. As you may know, Swahili is the fourth most common language spoken in our school district, and Telugu is the fifth. Also, Jackson, Jackson, and Wagner took a look at our more established ways that we reach out to our stakeholders. And we really see nashua.edu, our school district website, as a tool, communication tool of record. We did a redesign 2 years ago. It's really evolved from being not only a communication tool, but also a marketing tool. And it's very widely used. We typically, on average, have between 120 and 200,000 hits a month. I know when we first, 2 years ago, when we were dealing with the pandemic, that rose to over 300 plus thousand hits a month. The redesign was really brought us really to an enlightened period with website development and making sure that our website met all ADA compliance. So that was very important. Not surprisingly, as you can imagine, just to let you know, the most popular pages beyond just the landing, the home page that we have, is the school lunch menu page and the calendars and the staff directory, and beyond that are the two high school sites, which have a lot of traffic, as you can imagine. And again, with our school district website, the ability to translate has been very important. And you've probably noticed up in the upper left-hand corner, we now have the ability to quickly translate all content on Nashua.edu to Spanish, Portuguese, or Swahili. And there's also the additional link for other languages. And it's really amazing to see the development of those pages, because even though you're switching to a different language with very different way of presenting itself, the design of the website and those pages stays intact. So very clever design to that. And in regard to other means of outreach, certainly since the pandemic, we have really, made a complete turn to leveraging Blackboard Connect, our mass communication system. And that has been extremely valuable these last couple years. When we send an email or a voice message, we're generating over 15,000 messages with that. So that's very, very important and been very valuable. We also have developed the ability to text. And after much discussion, we decided that really was important to keep our texting capacity as an emergency messaging system. And we, in fact, sent a message out a couple weeks ago when we learned very early in the morning that there was going to be some delay with our school buses because of just slow going on the roads with inclement weather, and it was really great to be able to leverage that for that immediate message. So, also, something that was really brought to attention with the audit, this recent audit that we took action on, was to really make sure we were providing some really effective two-way communication with our families and with our staff. And we actually resurrected a Nashua School District intake form, and that's located on the right-hand side of commonly used links. And this is the ability for anyone who has a question that they haven't been able to find an answer for at this point. And I monitor those every morning, Monday through Friday, and respond that day with either a complete answer or certainly the best that I can, and certainly giving them a contact person to find out how to answer that question. So we really see that's valuable. And of course, with the pandemic, COVID-19@nashua.edu email address. Also, a major middle school project with us, the wonderful renovations that are going on at Pennachuck and at Fairgrounds Middle School, and the building of the new middle school. If anybody has any question, it's middle school project at nashua.edu. And without a doubt, the most effective means of communication stands with the personal interaction. And Dr. McKinney has really implemented different ways of doing that with certain key groups in our school district. It's wonderful of folks to have that opportunity to speak directly to Dr. McKinney. So obviously with our PTO and presidents and our parent groups. We also had a morning breakfast with the Nashua delegation to Concord. And as Dr. McKinney announced a few weeks ago, he is resurrecting the superintendent cabinet with staff. So tried and true. So just to wrap up, the most important takeaway for everybody is whether you're a member of our staff or one of our family members, to be sure to keep your information, your contact information current. If you are one of our family members, please be sure to call your children's school secretary and make sure all your contact information is up to date. We count on that to reach you. And also to our staff, be sure to take advantage of the staff channel on the school district website, our ESS, Employee Self-Service. It's quite a few links within that. You go from bookmarks to life events, and then move, and you update both your home and supplemental contact information. And that's key, because when we send those 15,000 plus emails or voice messages or texts, we want to be sure we're reaching you. So we'll do our part, you do your part, and keep us up to date with your contact information. And that's my update on where we are and the work that we've done since the communication audit last January.
Excellent, thank you so much. Do we have any questions? Ms. Brown?
Did the audit give us any areas for improvement?
Yes, it was attached to what I sent out Friday in the packet. There was the actual audit, and certainly most of what we're talking about here were a lot of the recommendations or building on successes we've had in the past with what we're doing for our outreach with our stakeholders.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Hines. That was informative and nice to know that what we're doing is working.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're just going to reconfigure while this goes up.
Can I ask a question? Thank you. I was just, Ms. Hines, I just wanted to know about social media. I know we have Twitter. I feel like that's kind of an older generational thing. What are we doing now for other types of social media, and what are the plans for expanding or not expanding into other social media avenues?
Well, we certainly, over the years, have talked about how best to reach out, and it's really about leveraging the resources we have within the school district with the tools that we have. If you look in the packet, there was also, at the 3 levels, the different ways we communicate with our families and with our staff. And there is a labor constraint, too. The thing is that when we communicate, we want to communicate in a timely and effective way. We want to be sure it's accurate. So it's not random. It's not in any way catch as catch can. We really try to be very disciplined in how we communicate. We think that's what's important, and we think we hope to think that everybody has come to rely on when we're sending something out. When it's sent out, it is accurate, it's informative, and it helps keep them, as we said, informed and up to date. We talk about this quite often, and at this point, these are the tools we feel confident in using, and that we are using them well, rather than to really expand and take upon other social media that can be quite time-consuming. So it's all about trying to manage what we do, how we communicate well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hines. Moving on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
So it was Ms. Ziem and Ms. Gilio. And we do have to do roll call, and I do apologize. Ms. Darling is on the phone and Mr. Claffey's on the phone. Do we have consensus about them being here on the telephone?
Yes.
I'm seeing nodding. And just to verify, Ms. Darling, Mr. Coffey, you're in the room alone?
Yes.
Mr. Claffey?
Yes, alone except for my dog JJ, and he's promised to keep his mouth shut.
Okay. Thank you. I apologize for that. Ms. Raymond, can you do roll call?
So on the motion to accept the consent agenda, Ms. Darling?
Yes.
Mr. Claffey?
Yes.
Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Ziem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
No.
Okay. Ms. Bishop?
Yes. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none. Are there any communications outside of the consent agenda that we would like to add? None? Okay.
I just wanted to make a motion to go into non-public so we can get updates about the teacher's contract for the entire board.
You're making that motion?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'll second the motion. It's under, hold on one second. Do you know which? It's RSA 91A32E.
Yes.
Hold on one second, let me write.
That's fine. I'm pacing, being a better pace car this meeting.
Public, RSA 193A. All right, A3, 2E. Ha. Okay. Okay, are we ready for roll call? Or, I'm sorry, I'm kind of skipping discussion. Okay. Why is that in the wrong order? All of a sudden, every single one is in the wrong order. Okay, Ms. Darling? On the motion to go, okay. Mr. Claffey?
Yes.
Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Seem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 9-0.
Okay, we are now in non-public. It is 6:43. Sorry, guys.
PM. Okay.
Go get some homework done.
So I.
Welcome back. That was a.
Wait, did we turn on the recorder?
He did. Yeah, I didn't.
So we are coming out of non-public. It is now 8:40. I am looking for a motion to seal the minutes.
So moved. I'll second.
Sorry, that was Ms. Johnson? Ms. Johnson, you
Yes.
seconded?
Thank you.
Okay. And your motion to seal the minutes, is it under I of RSA 91A33I, affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the board? Double I, render opposed action ineffective, or triple I, pertains to preparation or carrying out of actions regarding terrorism? Double I?
Yes.
Okay. Double I would make our actions ineffective. Okay. So on the motion to seal the minutes, Ms. Darling?
Yes.
Mr. Claffey?
Yes.
Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
Ms. Raymond says yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Seem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
And Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. We spent a bit of time in non-public. Ms. Lampier, did you want to finish up why you went into non-public? Did you have something you wanted to add?
May I make a motion? I wanted to make a motion to reorganize the negotiating committee for the teacher's contract.
Okay, hang on one second. Let me write that down. Okay. So the motion is to reorganize the negotiating committee? Was there a second?
I'll second it.
And which negotiating committee?
The teachers' union.
Mm-hmm. Did anyone have anything to say? I'm sorry, that's not my job.
Any discussion? Ms. Brown?
I just want to say that I think this sets a bad precedent moving forward with the board, that anytime a member does not believe or does not agree with a committee that they could intentionally disband it. I think it's just bad for the community, it's bad for the board moving forward, and so I think that's something that we really should consider, setting a negative precedent.
Anybody have anything in contrast to Ms. Brown? Ms. Lampier?
I just want to say that the board has already heard why I made this motion, and I would prefer not to repeat it in public.
Any other discussion? Ms. Brown?
That's atypical, but that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
So call the vote. Ms. Raymond, can you, and this is because it is changing of a committee that has already been voted on, it needs a 2/3 majority vote.
Okay. Ms. Darling, yes means to reorganize the negotiating committee. No means to leave it as is.
No.
Mr. Claffey?
Yes.
Ms. Gilio?
No.
Ms. Raymond, I am going to abstain as I am on this committee. Ms. Lampier?
A yes is to change it, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
No.
No.
Ms. Ziem?
No.
Ms. Johnson?
No.
Ms. Bishop?
Yes. The noes have it. The committee stays as it stands.
Okay.
Okay, let's continue on. Sorry. Let's continue on with the rest of our meeting. The next, Dr. McKinney has stepped out.
No, public comments.
Oh, sorry, public comment first. I believe, can you get me the sheet? I believe it was just Adam on for first comment. Come on down.
First comments? Are these just the first comments?
It came on the agenda, so anyone who wants to speak.
The other, okay. So you're the only one who's speaking now, everyone else is speaking later?
No, I think they're all speaking now.
Oh, they are, okay. And this is the latest?
So is that correct? Because someone made a motion that now it becomes part of the agenda and anyone can speak? Or did they have to wait till the second public comments period if it's
It wasn't
about
on the
this?
agenda. So I would say it's not printed on the agenda, so it can go at the second, if people want to talk about it, they can go in the second half.
Okay.
So you just took 2 hours in non-public about my contract, and you're going to tell me in my membership that they can't talk about it now?
No.
You guys just spent 2 hours in non-public on something that wasn't on the agenda, and we can't speak about it now.
So, yes. It's not on the agenda. We can go into non-public about things that are not on the agenda. We can address this at the second half. I'd like to get through all of the policies and the committees that have already done work this week because we have to keep the district going. We can listen to your comments at the end.
This is unbelievable. The negotiations of this contract were discussed at the January 6th, or the January 10th school board meeting. Is that correct? Are those minutes on the consent agenda?
Yep, and we have allowed that to work before, so continue on.
My name is Adam Marcoux. I'm president of the Nashua Teachers Union. I live at 4 Jalori Lane. I haven't spoken about Appendix I or Article 12.9 yet, as the proposal could seem self-serving, as currently I sit in the office of the presidency of the union. While I'm currently the president, I will not be there forever. This language is not about me, but the stability of my union moving forward and the future of that union. For members to elect the president they see fit, not who the board dictates by term limits that you have no business instituting on our contract. We've asked repeatedly for jurisdiction or justification on why removing Appendix I and reverting to 12.9. And each time, we get a different answer from this board. You don't want to be the middleman anymore, meaning it is a significant burden to pay and run me through payroll. Then we had a problem, the retirement system would have a problem with it. Well, that's been debunked, and I am not the only president that currently is in the retirement system. So, board members, when you're responding to the membership, I would appreciate if you gave them accurate information when you responded. Now, the answer was they have a philosophical problem with it. Do you mean because we reimburse you 100%, which, by the way, since this whole thing went down, the invoice changed magically? Huh, interesting. I would add that you have repeatedly said that there are things that aren't being paid, and we said we would pay for them. Until this negotiations, no one has said anything other than what's in the invoice. So how am I supposed to pay for something that we don't have an invoice for? Do you randomly pay things without an invoice? I don't. Then the fourth thing, which is my favorite, by the way, the NTU president doesn't do any work for the Nashua School District. If you need a list of things, please refer to my colleagues behind me. But the core functions of my job are to enforce this contract, represent the membership. I sit on district committees. I meet with the superintendent weekly. And that doesn't mention the $5,000 check that I signed last week for N60 Hours of Hunger that feeds many of our students in this district. So those were the 4 reasons why to change it, and now we want to modify it to limit to how many years I've been in the district, or 10, whichever is shorter, is still interfering with the operations of this union. As the leader of the Nashua Teachers Union, I also bring information from my board of directors. At their meeting on January 26th, the Nashua Teachers Union Board of Directors took a vote of no confidence in the Board of Education negotiating team. And we asked that the full board dissolve that team, which clearly is not going to happen tonight, and that the full board settle this contract now. This has gone on way too long. It needs to end. We've been told that we haven't conceded on anything. The $2.3 million savings for the city in health insurance is a huge concession for the membership. The board submitted a new proposal on January 27th, reducing their salary offer, even though they accepted our proposal on January 6th at the table, and through a press release, which basically said that we got everything we wanted except Appendix I. So what is it? Do we have an agreement or don't we? This is nothing more than negotiating in bad faith. Thus, the NTU has outright rejected this proposal and will consider taking legal action against the school district in the form of an unfair labor practice. We call on the Nashua Board of Education to withdraw their proposal regarding the NTU president and move forward to the ratification process with items agreed to previously at the table and on January 6th at mediation. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think we've set a precedence before about from the audience. I appreciate your passion, but we do need to keep the jeering and cheering to a minimum. It's now time for superintendent's comments.
Thank you, Madam President. 4 things for this evening. Congratulations to 4 students at Nashua High South for winning Scholastic Art Awards. The awards were recognized for social awareness, technical prowess, use of composition, and the articulation of thoughts and emotions in submitted selection of art. Brooke Flanagan and Kylie Lutchman, both class of 22, won both Gold Key and Honorable Mention level recognition for 2 of their submissions, and Madison McMahon, class of 22, and Rihanna Schroff, class of 23. One honorable mention for several of their submissions. In addition, the Institute of Art and Design at New England College selected Kylie as a Gold Key Sponsor Awardee. With that selection, Kylie wins a merit scholarship and an additional $2,000 to attend NEC. So congratulations to all the awardees. Second thing, the U.S. Air Force awarded Cadet Colonel Claire DeRoja, commander of the Junior ROTC unit at Nashua High North, and a member of class of 22, a full scholarship to any college of her choice that offers an Air Force ROTC program. Claire was one of 100 cadets selected among 18,000 nationwide to earn this distinguished scholarship. Claire earned this scholarship by writing an essay, overcoming a difficult learning experience, having a 4.0 GPA, exceeding the Air Force physical fitness standards, and presenting in front of an Air Force panel of officers who, for 30 minutes, questioned Claire about her leadership. So congratulations, Claire. We're very proud of you. Third thing, let me be among the many people who applaud Zach Ostrowski, a member of the South Unified basketball team, for a heads-up stealth-like steal in a basket for his team during the game against North as part of the Battle of the Bridge competition. It was such a great play that it made SportsCenter's featured clip of the #1 play of the day on its broadcast last weekend and across several media outlets, including WMUR and WBZ. Zach's play and his reaction was a spontaneous, great play that's lifted spirits. So congrats, Zach and his teammates. Have a rematch against North tomorrow at 3 p.m. I also want to give a shout out to ETV for all their coverage of Battle of the Bridge. And congratulations to Nashua High South for this winning season of Battle of the Bridge. And finally, thank you to Rabbi John and Temple Beth Abraham for hosting a COVID-19 vaccination clinic with the Department of Health and Human Services last week. It's nice to hear that 66 children between the ages of 5 and 11 received their first dose, and 83 teenagers between the ages of 16 and 17 received their booster shot as well. Thank you, and that's all.
Responses to the superintendent comments? I'll go around the horseshoe. Ms. Johnson?
No comment.
Thank you. Ms. Lampier?
Thanks for passing on the information about the vaccines. It's really good to hear. Thank you.
Ms. Giglio?
Congratulations to all the students the superintendent mentioned tonight.
Mr. Claffey?
No comment.
No comment?
Yeah, no comments.
Okay, thank you. I also want to congratulate the students that Dr. McKinney mentioned. Watching that play by Zach was probably the highlight of the last week, so it was nice to see. Ms. Raymond?
No comments.
Ms. Brown?
No comment.
Ms. Darling?
No comment.
Ms. Ziem?
I would just like to also comment that 149 students that was wonderful about the vaccinations. Thank you.
Excellent. And now it's time for the student members of the board comments.
Sorry, still getting used to the mic. Elaborating on what Dr. McKinney said, big win for Nashua South Athletics. Our boys and girls varsity alpine ski team won, our freshman and varsity basketball team, boys team won, as well as the rest of varsity wrestling and swim and dive. So that's great. I'm not surprised that we ended up beating North, but it's okay. We'll do it again and again. And additionally, I just want to speak on the issue with the union on behalf of the students. So the students of Nashua South would benefit from a strong union, which can be guaranteed by a fair contract, union president's benefits included. The continuity of union leadership fosters strength in all aspects of the district. Additionally, our school district relies on our veteran teachers. These same teachers putting their blood, sweat, and tears for their students, and these same teachers working multiple jobs just to put food on the table. I speak on behalf of my student body when I say that we see you, we stand with you, and hope that these negotiations will be resolved soon with a fairer contract as a result. Additionally, I want to speak on another issue going on in our schools that I would like to bring light on. I know with all the talks of having to potentially resort to an asynchronous learning option, an issue of a lack of continuity of students learning in person has been brought up. And to elaborate on that, with rising COVID cases, I think we all know that we are currently in a rise and a spike right now. Hopefully that the cases will go down, but as of right now, we're still going up. And students are getting COVID in very large numbers. You know, you might get symptoms, and then you have to go get tested. You're not allowed to be in school while waiting. You have to wait a few days to get your test results back. And then what? You're gonna test positive for COVID. You're gonna go show symptoms. I've had classmates in almost all my classes out for, you might say just 5 days, but you know, that's only if you're not showing symptoms. If you are showing symptoms and you're not feeling well, I've had students out for 2 weeks to even a month of just missing school, and these students aren't able to learn at all. They're just resorting to little Google Classroom resources, and they have to come back, and what? Some of them didn't even have teachers back when they came back. Their teachers got COVID, you know, so it's just something that I'd like this board to consider and think about, that while we may have to consider a potential asynchronous option, let's also focus on giving our students the best in-person education and consider the fact that there are health risks and that some of them are being forced to be sent home so that we can be safe. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers.
I think Samay did a good job in explaining the union situation. But I'd like to say as well at Nashua North, I know before our winter break, these students organized an unofficial Teachers Day in support of them and everything they do. And in most recent news, I'd like to congratulate South for their win in Battle of the Bridge. Can't say they'll be as lucky next year or even in spring, but I'd like to congratulate North Varsity Hockey, their unified girls and boys and JV basketball teams, because they beat South. So yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I don't mean to double back around, but on the first public comment sheet, I hate to go back on this, but the C other, does that mean you guys were referencing the not on the agenda piece? Because that's how I read it. Okay, so we'll go on the next one. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't, that my interpretation of that was correct. Okay, so we will move on to, there's budget starts up soon, but the Committee on Finance and Operations.
Thank you. First, I'd like to turn this over to Mr. Donovan because the first item on the recommendation has to do with the ESS substitute services, and he was going to negotiate a contract. So if you can give up any information on that.
Well, I've read the contract. Okay. I think the motion is for me to continue to negotiate the contract so that we can use this firm to hopefully bring us more substitutes into our schools.
Can you just give a little background on this for everybody, because I don't know if anybody around our horseshoe really knows that much in the audience, and why we're doing this, we're hiring this firm.
Well, we're hiring this firm because it's been very difficult to get subs, not only during the COVID time, but even prior to that. The reality is the school district is not good at recruiting substitutes. We don't have a recruiting department, part of our HR. Some companies do, we don't. And it's a different sort of position. So this company, we've looked into, we've spoken with them. They've done this in a lot of other cities in the United States, and we figured we'd give it a shot to see if they can improve the number of substitutes in our schools.
Okay.
Ms. Ziem?
You'll forgive me, I'm going to take my mask, so my southern drawl, and
it's hard to distinguish with the mask on what I'm even saying. I have two questions. We had a wonderful email from a Mr. Roach, and a couple of his questions I thought were interesting. I did watch it on TV the other night, and it sounded interesting. The first question he had that I thought was interesting and didn't remember it being discussed was the liability what happens if an employee does something inappropriate or criminal while working in the district. One of the substitutes we're talking about now. Is the district liable because they hired ESS?
That is being discussed in the contract, but
Okay.
there will be insurance, there will be, that will be.
And the other question, and I'm just going to say this because I think the public needs to know, I'm assuming that that the cost, we haven't gotten to that part yet. So if it comes to the point where you don't feel the district can afford it, then you won't recommend it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So, because he was saying, well, what about the cost? And I just want him to know, you take it one step at a time. So for those of you out there who had that question, hopefully it helped. Thank you, Mr. Donovan.
I've got the same email, and he asked another question. Did you consider any other companies like Kelly Education?
This company's process is a little bit different. They're more hands-on. They're in the district. They have a full-time person. Kelly's more of a temp agency. This is a little bit different than that.
I'd just like to get some of the questions answered so the public can hear why we're doing this and why we picked this particular company. Ms. Brown has a question.
Oh, sorry, Ms. Brown.
I just wanted to mention a few things that I was really impressed with, which was that they will have a full-time person here in the district reaching out, going to our events, going to our PTOs, going to our community, looking for substitutes. So it really is an excellent recruitment opportunity. Just to kind of speak to what you're talking about, I think the hands-on experience was what drew me in the most. And where there probably, I don't know if there'll really be a genuine cost savings, I think there is a priority of making sure we do have quality subs in the classrooms. They have ongoing professional development for the substitute teachers. They have actually classroom management classes and preparedness for anyone they onboard. And they have and they also offer benefit packages and things like that we necessarily couldn't offer at an affordable rate to substitutes in the district. And the company doesn't make money unless they place a substitute. So that was what I understood to be the pay structure, which I thought, that's a pretty good incentive to make sure that there's quality subs and returning subs. So that's one of the reasons I supported it in the committee, and that's why I'll consider support it tonight.
Ms. Bishop, Ms. Zima has a question.
Oh,
Ms. Seem.
Oh, I'm sorry. When she was talking, I happened to think of a thought that had occurred to me, and you probably know the answer to this, but when it first initiates, I don't know how many substitutes we currently have on roll, but are we saying that each one of those, even though they're already with our district, would we be charged for them, or would they come on board free because we've already hired them? Did I verbiage it so you understood, I hope?
Yes, we would pass on that information to them. There's no cost to anybody for them to work for us or to work for them.
No, what I'm talking about is the company ESS.
Right.
I think that if I understood it the night I watched it on TV, per individual, I believe it's per individual that they hire to substitute. They add the cost, they take the cost of what the actual teacher gets, and then they add on top of that their fee.
Correct.
So when we start off, the ones that are already on, will we have to catch them up by paying for each one of those that are already in the district?
They will become employees of ESS. So
they will be paid for them. Thank you.
Yes.
So I'm going to make a motion to approve the administration to negotiate a contract.
I had a question, please, Madam President.
Yes, Mr. Claffey.
I just want to make sure that the board will have a chance to vote on any contract that's negotiated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course, it's got to come to Finance and Ops for us to approve it.
Right.
The whole board.
Yes.
I believe this just moves it forward, is what you want to hear, I think, Mr. Caffey. It's just to the next step, but it's not to the final. 'Cause that's the question I was asking about the money. Before we can approve it, we need to know how much it's going to cost.
Right, and we haven't gone into negotiations completely. That's what I asked Mr. Donovan about a little bit.
And Mr. Donovan is very good about keeping the finances straight. I give him great credit for that.
So we're just giving him permission to sit at the table and have this conversation.
Right. Yes. Okay, I'm going to make a recommendation to approve the administration to negotiate a contract between NSD administration and ESS substitute services to provide substitute services for the Nashua School District.
Second.
Ms. Lampier seconded.
But again, can we confirm, Mr. Donovan, you're saying that it won't be fully approved until this board has seen the cost, and then we'll vote on it again. So, thank you.
Okay, are you ready for the roll? Okay, on the motion to approve admin to negotiate a contract between NSD and ESS for substitute teachers, Ms. Darling?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Claffey?
Yes.
Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Raymond votes yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Ziem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Okay.
Recommendations to approve a technology fee of $25 for the Nashua School District for students borrowing a school district device.
Second.
Ms. Gilio?
I have a question. Is this for every student regardless of what their free lunch status is?
Yes.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Ms. Ziem?
I'm sorry. So with the drivers, when they get a parking permit, isn't there the kids who can't afford this? Is there some clause in here that makes sure that we're not putting a burden on them that they can't?
No, it's for all students, just like parking is for all students.
I know the parking is, but aren't the ones on poverty don't get some kind of break or something?
No, not for parking. They do for bus. High school students have to pay for buses, free and reduced lunch, either reduced or they don't have to pay. But this fee would be for all students that would be borrowing a district device.
Regardless.
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
The history behind this is because of when we were in remote and we got a lot of computers back that were broken, smashed.
And I understand that.
And that's why I asked for a policy, because what will happen is that this money will go into the fund to repair for future, and because we can't keep fixing and replacing at times. And there's still, I'm sure, that there's devices that have never come back. And that's what I'd like to get a list of, that how many devices have never even been returned for the last year and a half. So this is a way, like anybody would have a contract any place, that if you're going to borrow a device, and it protects them also.
So is there discretion in this motion for, I understand that some of it is careless and irresponsible, but there will also be those who, I mean, accidents happen. And I concern myself about people who, $25 is not a lot of money to me. It doesn't mean it's not a lot to some of the families in our district. I definitely know that we have poverty. We have some, in my view, Nashua has a lot of poverty. I believe at least 60% of our students are in what I consider poverty. So I would like to see us give at least discretion to the administrators to, if it were necessary, to give, to make a judgment call,
Ms. Brown?
We did discuss that in our meeting, specifically what you're worried about. Right now, we're having a difficult time Traditionally, the waiver would be based on free and reduced lunch. However, because everybody's getting free lunch right now, it's been difficult to track that particular number. However, we have discussed moving forward that teachers, students, different individuals could in fact apply for some help, if we're concerned that a family is in need. Hopefully Mr. Chopa or someone else could help us out with that. We're not going to be vengeful tax collectors.
So if I were going to vote for it, I would want a clause in there that says, that administration has the discretionary ability to make, and I suppose that's opening a bag of worms. Maybe you don't want that. How do you feel about that, Mr. Donovan?
Well, there's a policy that's this was just approving the fee piece in finance and ops. The whole policy was discussed in the policy committee. So I'm just speaking to the fee itself. If you're going to ask more questions about the whole policy, I think you got to speak to the policy itself.
I'm not talking about the policy. I'm talking about this. I'm saying that if they have, I think that there should be discretion I think there should be discretion for those who can't, who maybe through no fault of their own. Sometimes I've broken computers before. I don't know how many in the audience may have, but I can tell you, of course, I'm not very technical, I admit that, but I think it's possible. It's not always irresponsible and it's not always intentional. Sometimes, I don't know, I just think discretion would be a good thing, and so I would like to see that in there. But
I'd like to answer her question about a couple of things. On this technology coverage, it does talk about what's going to be fixed. That if you drop it, if it's not intentional and is accidental, like any policy that you buy even from Best Buy, it's going to cover a broken or cracked screen, technology fee coverage. This agreement will cover direct physical loss caused by accidental damage caused by normal and intended use of equipment, such as a broken or cracked screen, fire, flood, vandalism, natural disasters, power surge due to lightning. It says right here.
Thank you. That makes me happy.
I mean, it's just a protection plan, so I think $25 is better than to give somebody a bill for $700 to try to fix all this.
No, thank you. Thank you for showing me that, telling me that. I appreciate it.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to approve.
Oh, sorry. I think Ms. Johnson made the motion and I seconded it.
Okay, then let's
Was I
call the
wrong?
vote.
Okay. So on that motion to approve the technology fee, Ms. Darling?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Claffey?
No.
Okay. Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Ziem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
And Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Okay.
Recommendation to award the contract for traffic analysis to the Engineering Corporation in the amount of $19,000, funding from deferred maintenance account.
Second.
Okay. Any comments, questions?
What traffic analysis is that?
For Franklin Street, right?
Franklin, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Any question? No, we're ready to vote. Sorry. Ms. Darling? Ms. Darling, on the motion to award the contract for traffic analysis?
Yes, sorry, my voice is going again.
Oh, no. Okay, Mr. Claffey?
Yes.
Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
Ms. Raymond is a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Ziem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
And Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Recommendation to award the contract for geotechnical services to support the architectural design of Franklin Street School to SLR International in the amount of $2,800, funding from deferred maintenance account.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Okay, we can call the vote. Ms. Raymond?
Okay. Ms. Starling?
Yes.
Oh, goodness gracious. Mr. Claffey?
Yes.
Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Ziem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
And Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Okay.
And the final recommendation is to approve the FY22 transfer report as presented at the 1/24/22 F&O meeting.
Second.
Discussion, questions? Okay, call the vote, Ms. Raymond.
Okay, Ms. Darling? Okay, I heard a yes. Mr. Claffey?
Yes.
Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Ziem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
And Ms. Bishop?
Yes. We are now switching over to the Committee on Policy. However, Ms. Darling, I want to let you know we do have a quorum here. I know you're not feeling well. If you want to bow out of the meeting, we don't want to put any undue stress on you because you're not feeling well. Do you want to stay on, or do you want to take a beat?
Actually, I am going to excuse myself at this time. I do, if you don't mind, just have a couple of things I want to say.
Go ahead.
I just want to let everybody there know how much I truly appreciate the passionate feelings that they have for the NTU contract. I understand that emotions right now are so high, and I would do anything in the world to just make it better for all of us right now. But I do believe in the board that has been elected on, and I believe that we've discussed so much, and we will hopefully have a good path moving forward. And I'm so proud of the students that were mentioned today. And with that, I am done for the night. Thank
Yes,
you, guys.
please go have some tea and water and rest up. Have a good night. Okay, Ms. Raymond, the Committee on Policy.
Wait, oh, that is my committee, no, yes, it is my committee. I'm sorry, I'm having a moment. All right, so I move to approve the proposed policy ACAC, Title IX Sexual Harassment Policy and Grievance Process.
I'll second that.
Okay. Oh, it's not fun doing both.
Oh, comments and questions? No, no comments, no discussion?
All right,
Okay,
great.
just continue on with the vote.
Mr. Claffey?
Yes.
Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
Ms. Raymond is a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Ziem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
And Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I move to rescind policy JBAA, sexual harassment involving students. And I just want to point out that this is now being replaced by ACAC. So we're not getting rid of a sexual harassment policy involving students. We've just expanded it to include a grievance process and a whole lot more information, making this existing one, JBAA, redundant.
I'll second it.
Okay? Okay. Mr. Claffey?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
Okay. I'm a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Ziem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
And Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I move to approve policy GBEAB, mandatory code of conduct reporting all employees.
Second.
Okay. Hold on. no discussion? Okay. All right, Mr. Claffey?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Delia?
Yes.
Okay, I'm a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Ziem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
And Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Okay. I move to approve proposed policy JICT, the Student Parent Guardian Chromebook Agreement.
Does anyone have a second?
Oh, I'll second.
Okay, Ms. Johnson, I thought you may want to.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. And
You're welcome.
Ms. Ziem, this is where it gets into in-depth what the $25 covers.
Thank you.
Any discussion, questions? Okay, call the vote.
Okay, Mr. Claffey? Mr. Claffey on JICT, the Student Parent Guardian Chromebook Agreement? Did we lose him?
Did we?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Ziem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
And Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, Ms. Brown, Committee on Curriculum and Evaluation.
All right. We met on January 18th, and let's see, our first recommendation is to move to approve the asynchronous learning proposal as presented.
Second.
Discussion?
Can I?
Ms. Ziem?
Well, I just wanted to say we got several email from parents who were very concerned about this, and I think that their concern is that this is going to be abused. I don't think it is going to be abused. In the elementary schools, we have, I think our smallest school is almost 200, maybe even less than 200, and our largest school is like 500, and we have, I believe, 12 elementary schools. You can't have one policy that fits all of those schools because they're all range in size that fluctuates greatly. So to some extent, these schools have to have a little more discretion in making the decision when the safety of our students is affected to the point that we need, and not only our students, but our teachers, our staff. We don't want any of the people in our district to get sick if we can avoid it in any way. Or, worse than that, we don't want any dangerous situations happening. So I think we have to allow them some discretion because of this difference in all of these schools. And I just wanted to say that to the parents. If you feel it's being abused, you can always pick up the phone and call us, and we will certainly, I will certainly try to do my best to check it out. I don't think that will happen. I have faith in our staff. To be honest with you, I think we have some pretty good people, not teachers and administrators alike. So, but I did want to say that to those of you who were concerned that we would go back to where it was, going too much remote and not, when we can have in person, I believe it's administration as well as staff's desire to do so. Just as sometimes it's just not safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we can call the vote on that. Ms. Raymond?
Okay, Mr. Claffey on asynchronous?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Julia?
Yes.
Okay, I'm a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Ziem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
No.
Okay. Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Okay. 7-1.
All right, next item, I move to approve the curriculum management plan from 2021 to 2023 as presented.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Lampier. Discussion? No discussion? Call the vote then.
Okay. Mr. Claffey?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Ziem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
And Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
All Next, I move to approve Project Succeed partnership with the Youth Council and the Boys and Girls Club in the amount of $682,627.33, funding through ESSER 3 grant funds.
I'll second it.
Okay. And if I may, we did have a couple of questions come in this week from a few of the behavior support folks at this elementary school. So I was hoping that Dr. Sarfti could give a little bit of an overview on the program and how it can support some of our kids in need.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to take my mask down. So we've all sat here week after week, and we've heard teachers talk about all the challenges that you're having at the schools, and we certainly want to make sure that we're supporting you, particularly at the middle and high school levels, and then supporting our students. We know that taking a strictly punitive approach doesn't change the behavior. Essentially what happens is kids will leave us when they're suspended. They become further and further behind in academics, and then certainly I believe, as a teacher anyway, that having just kind of sending kids home only serves to further fracture the relationship between us and our kids. So we did partner with, and we are seeking to partner with our friends over there from the Youth Council and also from the Boys and Girls Club. And we want to take a more thoughtful approach when it comes to meeting the needs of our students who are in crisis. These are the same kids who are, I would say, taking up the majority of administration's time. We've been listening to our middle and high school principals just talk about the tremendous challenges that they're having. So I know that they're really excited to be able to offer a program like this that will support students in their academic needs, but also will allow students to be able to have access to counseling services, group services, educational services. So for instance, if we have a student who is suspended for vaping, they get to participate in, groups so that they can understand the perils of vaping, those types of things. I know some of the questions came from some of the folks that you just mentioned about, and Ms. Johnson mentioned these concerns as well, or these questions about what we plan to do when we transition students back into our buildings. And what I'll say is, again, these are our kids that we are spending a lot of time with, right? So there's a lot of people involved. In addition to having a mentor when they're in the Boys and Girls Club, and in addition to having counseling services while they're at the Boys and Girls Club, our goal is to be able to continue those services as needed when they transition back into the high schools or the middle schools. Just like we always do when a student is suspended, we would have a reentry meeting, and the participants in that reentry meeting would certainly include administration. Many times, the student would be there to advocate for him or herself. Parents would be involved, counselors would be involved. A lot of the teachers, I'm sure, are involved in these meetings. I know I was. And again, we want to make sure that we are continuing that care. We would love to be able to encourage those students to become members of the Boys and Girls Club. I know that Craig has talked a lot about these students in particular, and really being able to forge a bond with them and hopefully give students a safe place to be after school for some kids who might not have that at home, or because parents work and they don't have time to pay attention to their kids 24/7. I face those challenges too. So I hope that answers some of the questions that you had. I don't know if you have any additional questions.
No, I think that's great. That was the mostly was how we are going to handle that transition back to school and continue to support students and hopefully continue to foster those mentorships. I think that's great.
Ms. Ziem?
I was fortunate enough to be at the meeting where they were discussing this. That was wonderful. And I have to say, it's a bargain. I mean, you would never get, they're going to get the help they need, and it's a bargain. We couldn't afford it if it weren't being done this way. There's no way we'd be able to help that many kids. So kudos to you and to the district for your great work, because that's wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no more discussion, we can vote.
Okay, on the motion to approve Project Succeed, Mr. Claffey.
Yes.
Ms. Gilio.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Lampier.
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes?
Ms. Thiem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
And Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Next, I move to approve the partnership agreement with Teaching and Learning Alliance in the amount of $32,600, funding from ESSER funds.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Lampier. Any discussion? Questions? Okay, we can call the vote then.
Mr. Claffey?
Yes.
Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes?
Ms. Thiem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
And Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
All right. Next, I move to approve the partnership agreement with Confianza in the amount of $22,500, funding through ESSER funds.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Lampier. Any discussion? Any questions? Okay.
Mr. Claffey?
Yes.
Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
Ms. Raymond votes yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes?
Ms. Thiem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Bishop?
Yes. Okay, so the Committee on Human Resources, Ms. Thiem, do you want to first make a motion
Yes.
to
We need a motion to,
suspend the rules?
to make an exception to our rules so that we can bring forward the personnel recommendations.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. I know this isn't in the book, so Heather has to write this down.
I'm trying to get exactly what Ms. Thiem said.
Oh, I'm not fussy. As long as you get close, the content is.
So I can't spell. Okay, and that was seconded by Ms. Brown?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Ms. Darling's on here. Mr. Claffey?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
Ms. Raymond is yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes?
Ms. Thiem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
And the follow-up motion is that the committee recommends approval of the personnel recommendations revised January 31, 2022, to include 3 nominations.
To include 3 nominations?
Would you like me to give you the names? I can. Not necessary, they're saying. Okay?
Okay.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
Okay. Mr. Claffey? This is who?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
Ms. Raymond is a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Thiem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Okay.
The liaison reports, we have JSSBC, Ms. Gilio. I give you the floor.
Thank you. Okay, JSSBC met on Thursday evening. They elected Alderman Dowd to be the chairperson again, and our own Ms. Bishop is going to be the clerk for the upcoming year. We received full architects' reports with photos and slides and full construction update. This was done for the benefit of the newer members who had not been on JSSBC before. The slideshows show pictures of recent progress and plans with visuals of what the new middle school should be looking like when it comes along. They break ground on the new middle school. It's scheduled for March. And there were 2 submissions for Franklin Street School, which we've already approved tonight. And we approved many invoices. And they said that at Pennachuck right now, we're about halfway finished with the process of the renovations. And you can get this information by going to the website. And they also present all kinds of lovely pictures so you can see the slideshow. So it's right out there. All the information is out there for anyone who wishes to know what's happening, both at Pennachuck and with the plans for the new middle school. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gilio. Yeah, that was a That was a really interesting meeting to sit at. If anybody wants to watch it on YouTube, it's fantastic. It's like Nashua becomes the Sims people, and we get to see all of our kids in the new middle school. So I recommend it. You guys don't watch it, you'll be jealous. So stay back. Okay, so we already covered the communications audit. In new business, I'm looking for a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding with the NTU.
I'll make that motion.
All right, I'll second it. Any discussion? Any questions?
Do we need to share it with the public? No?
I think once it's approved, it gets shared with the public.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So we have a first and a second and no discussion, so we can call the vote.
I'm sorry. I had one question.
Yes, Ms. Brown?
Shoot, I'm sorry, I don't have it. We have to go to non-public.
You want to go into non-public?
No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Because we can't go in. Can we talk about what's on it?
Not till it's
All
approved.
right, don't worry about it. It was just like, it's fine.
Okay. And so the motion is to approve the MOU regarding asynchronous learning. Yes? Okay. Mr. Claffey?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Ziem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
No.
Okay. And Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for sticking with us. We are now going into the second public comment. Is there a second sheet up there to go along with this? Okay, so same as before, this is a 15-minute session. At the end of 15 minutes, you guys can bow out if you want to. I know it's a school night.
Thanks, John.
Unless you're like my kid and you're up on TikTok until 1 o'clock in the morning anyway. Screen time. Oh, does your mom lock it?
No, I put it on.
Oh, you're smart. I just fall asleep. Okay, so we do have quite a bit of people. We'll keep a timer on for the 15-minute mark. If at the end of 15 minutes, somebody motions to continue on with public comment, we'll approach that then. Again, please refrain from extraneous noise, and just, I mean, you guys know the rules, right? I don't have to say them again? Okay.
So, I'm sorry, did
Remind
you
them
want me
what?
to set the timer for 3 minutes per person? or
It's
just
3
for
minutes per
15?
person.
Okay.
And then at the end of 15 minutes, somebody needs to make a motion to continue on.
Okay. So,
I will put the timer on for 15 minutes, and Ms. Raymond will keep her timer on for 3 to keep this, to make sure that we can fit in as many people as we possibly can. First one up, so I'm going to go off of the first sheet that was turned into the second sheet, okay? So the first one up is going to be Linda Walsh. Okay. Kathy Belanger? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kathy Belanger.
oh, I don't think the thing is on anymore.
Yeah, you have to turn the microphone on, sorry.
Closer. Kathy Belanger, 7C Taggart Drive. This is my 26th year teaching at Elm Street. I naively believe that all of us in this room are on the same team. Superintendents are the coaches, the teachers and support staff are the offense and defense, the parents are the special teams, and the Board of Education is the equipment manager. Like any team, we have one common goal: to win. And by winning, I mean educating the students of this district. Each part of this team needs to do their job so that the whole team will be successful. If the equipment needed to play is not there, the rest of the team can try to win, but it will be much harder and a lot more painful. Right now, our team is losing. Last week, one of my 8th graders told me that she never logged on or participated in any of her learning in 7th grade and was surprised to be in 8th grade. That stuck with me for quite a while. Sorry. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that she was trying to tell me that we, Team Nashua School District did not care about her or her education. Our team failed that student and many more just like her. The board has been so busy about arguing about masks, meeting in person, remote versus in-person, that very few educational decisions have been made, especially what needs to be done with our students after remote learning, and in particular, remediation for our struggling students. So now we are going to wage another fight about something that is not about students. So the actual important things, like our students, will be ignored once again. This district is being held hostage because of one person's position. I can't even wrap my head around that. The question I would like to pose to the board is, what is the priority of the Board of Ed? That the union president has term limits or our students? We need to get back to making our students the priority so they can believe that we actually care about them and their education.
Thank you. Denise Rock?
I'm sorry, can Mr. Claffey mute himself or mute the mic? I'm finding it distracting.
No, you can't mute him. He needs to mute himself.
Mr.
On
Claffey,
his
they would
end.
like you to mute.
Or you can turn his mic off.
Or I can turn your mic off. Which would you rather?
I guess for now, no, we can't turn the mic off
I just
because
had
he
to
has.
change, I had to change my headphones because they were running out of juice.
Okay.
Jimmy has an option
Just have him mute his microphone,
on his phone.
his smartphone.
Yes, that's
Otherwise, we won't hear him when he tries to.
exactly. Yep.
Did you hear that? They just want you to mute your microphone on your phone, and I'll leave this mic on so you can hear what's going on here.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
Okay, we lost some time on that, so I'm gonna start the 15 minutes over. Okay, sorry, Miss Denise Rock, thank you.
I'm Denise Rock O'Hara, Birchwood Drive, Nashua. I've been a teacher at Elm Street for 20 years now. I'm going to take a little different tact. For me, the relationship between the Nashua teachers and the Board of Education has become like that of a bad marriage. Not getting our needs met, but staying in it for the kids. Just like a bad relationship, communication is broken down and lies have been spread behind our backs in an attempt to demean us. The proposal you came back with last week that went against the promise you publicly made regarding our salaries. Just like a troubled relationship, we sought outside help in the form of a mediator to work out our differences. But when you repeatedly failed to negotiate in good faith, it's clear to see that this relationship is just not working. The kids and I deserve better. In a good relationship, power is not used as a weapon, but you are using your power to undermine the teachers' union by negating contract language that has been in place for over 12 years. Language that would basically impose term limits, weaken the union president, thereby weakening the union and its ability to effectively represent its membership. We know it's not financial, as this contract point costs the district $0 net. You have yet to give us and the public a good explanation for this position. Despite the accusations some have made, we have been very invested in our students over this COVID period. But I'm wondering now what my students are taking away from watching how you treat their teachers. You're supposed to be our partners in helping our kids grow and succeed in this world, being a model for doing what's right. But for a long while now, talking to you has been like talking to a spouse with selective hearing. So I would like to address the students and their parents out there who might be watching. One important lesson I would like you to remember is just because you can doesn't mean you should. I often apply this in my class to technology violations or bullying, but it's true in life as well. We could vote to accept this contract, smile and stay silent about the lies certain board members perpetuate against our union, but that doesn't mean I should or we should. Just because we can accept less than we deserve doesn't mean we should. Another important lesson is about respect. Despite what we've all been told, basic respect should not have to be earned. It is owed to all of us as human beings, especially by those who hold power over us in some way. Disrespect in an uneven power dynamic is bullying, plain and simple. And just as our students have heard so many times in school, when we see bullying, we must call it out, even when it's hard, even when it comes at a cost. Just because we could stay silent doesn't mean we should. Sorry. Well, we won't stay silent anymore. You're trying to bully the teachers of Nashua, and we're done putting up with it.
Paul Menard.
Hello, Paul Menard. I teach right here in this building. I'll be here in just over 9 hours doing my job. Thank you. Presidential candidate, Secretary of War, U.S. Senator, and New Hampshire's native son, Lewis Cass, once wrote, "People may doubt what you say, but they will always believe what you do." When it comes to this contract, the board has said many things. In public comments made by members of this board, they have said they want to limit the term of the teachers' union president because of the money. But we have shown how the money is not an issue. They have said that Appendix I in the contract puts the board in the middle of an arrangement between the union and the city. But we have shown that this is not the case. They have said the president of the teachers union doesn't do anything for the city. But we have shown that indeed the president does a lot for the city. If we cannot believe what you say, then we have to look at what you do. The board brought up the removal of Appendix I on the first day of negotiations, even though they knew that it was a non-starter. The language of Appendix I remains to this day the one sticking point. They have said many things, but the one thing that has stayed consistent is their insistence on removing this language from the contract, language that has been in place for 12 years. Removal of this language would limit the power of the president. The board hasn't said that, but they keep trying to do it. Why? What are we to believe? The only explanation that seems reasonable is that the board wants to weaken the teachers' union. They want to weaken the union by weakening the role of the president. Cut off the head of the snake and the body dies. Isn't that the idiom? Despite what the board says, their one consistent behavior has been to seek the removal of Appendix I. So what I am left to believe is that they want to weaken the union, and that is something we will not allow you to do.
Thank you. Is it Avril Mastro Marino? It's not just the word, like, I can't read all of the writing.
Arvilla Master Marino, 207 Manchester Street. I was going to say that the elementary principal would have been very proud. I used my toolkit Saturday night when I heard about the proposal, and I went out and I very neatly shoveled my driveway. So thank you, negotiating board, for that. I spoke a couple meetings ago about how when you treasure or value something, you take care of it. It seems like since you went back on the salary and have stayed with this language that you're not valuing the teachers, you're valuing your fear of the union. What you value, you take care of.
Thank you. Beth Wheeler?
Beth Wheeler, 30 Conant Road. I'm a 5th grade teacher at Bicentennial Elementary School and a parent of 2 Maine Dunstable students. And I'm here tonight as a teacher, community member, and parent. And I would like to ask the board's negotiating team to publicly explain why they want Appendix I, why they want to change Appendix I, and how it is a benefit to the district when there are so many other pressing issues that need the attention of our board that will benefit our district on a greater scale, such as the need for consistent leadership of a long-term superintendent. I am fortunate to be part of the learning communities of 2 of the city's best elementary schools, Bicentennial as a teacher and Maine Dunstable as a parent. I think we should look at what these 2 schools have in common that make them great: committed long-term principals. In the 45 years since it's opened its doors, Bicentennial has seen only 3 principals. Charlie Katsois for 28 years, Kyle Angel for 12 years, and now the commitment of Michael Mahoney for 5 years, and we hope many more. I love my students and my teammates, but they are always changing. What has kept me as a committed teacher at Bicentennial for 12 years is the consistent, supportive leadership I have come to expect. My own 4th and 2nd graders are thriving academically at Maine Dunstable in a time when how and where they learn has changed many times in the last 2 years. I wish I could say it was because they have a teacher for their mama, but it's not. It's their school that deserves all the credit. A school that has had the steady leadership of Kelly Parody for 11 years. When there is consistent leadership, students, staff, and parents know what to expect and rise to meet those expectations. When there is a turnover in leadership every 2 to 3 years, as we have seen in the superintendent's office, initiatives and expectations change, leaving our learning community scrambling to keep up. I am again asking why the board is pouring so much time and energy into changing Appendix I and how it benefits the district when there is a much more pressing issue of securing a superintendent that will lead our schools long-term in integrateness, and that doesn't seem to be getting any of your attention.
Thank you. Diana Greer.
Diana Greer, I work at the Pennachuck Middle School. As we watch the clock at the end of the day, my fellow teachers and I commiserate about the terrible student behavior, lack of consequences for said students, the various district assessments we have to administer, and our exit strategies. Some of us will stick it out with the district for retirement is on the horizon. Some of us will search for new positions at the end of the year, and some of us are resigning before June. What message do you continue to send to those of us who work for the district? What incentives do we have to stay working for a district that kicks us when we're down? Instead of concentrating on substitutes and tutors, we should focus on teacher retainment. For example, the district has lost and is losing science teachers. We are told to use a new curriculum and change the units we teach at the same time. Science teachers could be doing actual science rather than managing student behaviors and serving up a canned curriculum. We can get paid more and respected more elsewhere. Why would we stay?
Thank you. Sue Cooper. Okay. Megan McKnight.
Hi, I'm Megan McKnight, and I work at Dr. Crisp Elementary. I have been here before, not necessarily in this room, but in this experience, watching the teachers, paras, and school nurses of Nashua have to fight for the bare minimum of what they deserve. When I was 8 years old, my parents, both teachers of Nashua for over 30 years now, brought my brother, sister, and I to the picket line. They brought us here so that we could see what it meant to fight for the rights of our people, to see how to stand united with colleagues and to be proud of what you do. I held a sign and stood with them as they fought for a fair contract. I am 23 years old now. It has been 15 years since then. So why are the teachers of Nashua still having to fight for the same bare minimum? Why do I have to stand in a picket line only in my 2nd year of teaching? I became a teacher to prepare students for the future, teach them about each other and themselves, and to give them confidence in academics and life skills. I did not become a teacher to have to fight for the bare minimum of what I deserve. I did not become a teacher to have to stand here and beg for the bare minimum. Teachers, paras, and school nurses deserve better. We deserve people in charge who will respect the hard work and endless hours we put in daily to not only teach curriculum, but be therapists, second parents, and friends to the students we absolutely adore. Students who deserve the best of what we can give them. Students who deserve this group of hardworking teachers, paras, and nurses that work in this school district. Teachers are doing their job teaching. Students are doing their job learning. And what we ask of the board is for you to do your job and lead by giving us a fair contract and valuing education in Nashua. We are not picketing in the middle of winter for fun. We are not only working within our paid hours for fun. We are not boycotting our committees and extra activities for fun. We are doing it because we deserve more than what you are giving us. We are doing it because after 15 years, I shouldn't have to stand next to my mother again in the picket line, now fighting for both our contracts. You want us to get back to the work the way it used to be? Then give us more than the bare minimum.
Thank you. Sheila Dunbar.
Good evening, my name is Sheila Dunbar, 207 Manchester Street. I teach 7th grade social studies at Pennachuck Middle School. I am also a building representative of Pennachuck. In my 35 years of union membership in 4 different unions, public, private, and government, and as a representative of 3, I have never seen the level of disrespect and disdain from a negotiating team. The latest communication offer from the negotiating team is insulting and regressive. I don't understand why the district feels that they should manage the affairs of the NTU. Limiting the leave allowed by a president limits the union and every member. We are the members of the union, and we will not put up for it. Without a clear reason, it's plain and simple union busting. My fellow union members will not stand for it. I'm angry that I need to spend time here wasting my valuable time outside of school to tell you that I'm angry. To tell you that this is absolutely ridiculous that we are still trying to settle this contract. I have not seen any valid reason to try to limit the leave. I have not seen any valid reason. We've already heard this all night. I'm angry that I had to spend time to write this. I'm angry that I chose to work to my contract. I'm angry that I can't spend that extra time thinking about those students. Of course, I'm always thinking about them because either you're teaching or you're thinking about it. But I'm angry that I can't spend that extra time to make that lesson special. I could sit there and have the students use the 10-year-old textbook, but that's not engaging for them. And I don't have the time during the school day to do all of the extra things that are keep getting thrown on us. And we continue to not get the respect. Hiring a company to pay subs, to hire subs? Who wants to come here? No one wants to come here, especially when the students, especially in the middle school, they know they can do whatever they want. They can still go to high school. Students need consistency in school. They need those teachers. Like Beth Wheeler just said, we need consistency in leadership. Students need consistency in school. When you don't value or respect your employees, those employees are going to leave. I know of many employees who have already resigned, just an additional one today. So I really, I don't know. You have the authority to settle this contract. You have the authority to do it. Please do it.
Thank you. It has been 15 minutes. I'd be looking for a motion to extend another 15 minutes.
Second.
Ms. Johnson and Ms. Gilio. Thank you.
Hold on 1 second.
I know.
Mr. Claffey? I'm not up. Mr. Claffey?
You can unmute.
You had to mute himself. Oh.
Yes. Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Deem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, next up is Vincent Duval.
Hi, I'm Vincent Duval. I'm the music teacher and band director at Pennachuck Middle School. And I'm obviously here to address the issue of the Nashua Board of Education to agree to a fair and reasonable contract with the Nashua Teachers Union. This is not the first time that I've spoken before the Nashua Board of Education for this reason. However, it wasn't for this contract. Every contract renewal in the 25 years that I've been in Nashua has been delayed. This is not the first time that teachers have felt compelled to justify their value in order to receive fair and equitable pay, benefits, and work conditions. I should and would be using my own time in a much better fashion right now if I wasn't put in this position by the negotiating team of the Nashua Board of Education to defend my right to strong union representation. And the current breakdown in negotiations absolutely does hinge around my right to adequate representation. Proposals put forth by the district negotiating team would weaken our local union leadership by strongly disincentivizing members to run for the position of president by making it too big a personal and professional sacrifice for any member to serve more than one term. This would ensure a revolving door of leadership at the union office, preventing any individual from becoming established enough to provide strong and effective leadership. It would also ensure that in the event that we did have any strong and effective union leaders, they would not remain in one place for very long. Despite this being the obvious objective, school board negotiating team members have denied any such motivation, have provided no rational or convincing argument for this being such an important item to them. I've taught my own son that when someone else presents a narrative that should make sense but doesn't, the problem is not usually a lack of understanding on our part, but either unintentional or purposeful misrepresentation on the part of those telling the story. The district negotiating team has had ample time to clear up any unintentional misunderstandings, and one can only conclude at this point that they're not being honest about their motivations for proposing contract language which would weaken this union. Interestingly, in its most recent proposal, the Nashua Board of Education has rescinded its original proposal aimed at weakening the union leadership and put forth a new proposal in which a previously agreed upon salary schedule has been decreased, and an alternate proposal which would also weaken the integrity of the union has been presented by imposing term limits on the presidency. This basically puts a price tag upon the ability of union leadership to represent its members in future negotiations, that price tag being the salary decrease. I'm not a lawyer or a labor relations expert, but it sounds to me as though this would be considered unfair labor practice. It makes me wonder where such a proposal stands in the view of the law. And all legal considerations aside, the school board would never accept contract language which dictated how the school board should organize and go about its business. The same holds for the union. We reject any language which would propose term limits or otherwise limit in any way our sovereign right to organize as we see fit.
Thank you. Kathy Belanger? I'm on the next sheet now. Some of you guys signed up twice, but just say no if it's no. Okay. So Denise Rock, did you want to, no? Okay. Paul spoke. Arvella, Beth Wheeler did, Diane Greer did, Sue Cooper did, Meg McKnight. Mary Ann Lewis? Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Good evening. I'm Mary Ann Lewis, 22 King Street. Before I address the board, I would like to acknowledge the cadet who won the scholarship. I think that's a great accomplishment. I just want to say congratulations and thank you for your service. I did write this in a letter to the board, and so many of you have received it in your email, but I thought it was a good opportunity to share it with everyone here this evening. To whom it may concern, I'm writing to share my upset with the lack of a contract yet again. This is my 16th school year as a teacher in this district. When I was hired, I would have reached the top of the pay scale in about 12 years. Now, during my 16th year, I've gone about halfway. There has been only one contract year during my time in Nashua that a contract has been settled on time. That seems a bit silly. As teachers, we work very hard. We are responsible for so very much. Much more than teaching just math and reading, we are there to look after children, their safety, their social, emotional needs, to be on the lookout for signs of danger. We make sure they don't go hungry. We do our best to see that their needs are met day in and day out. Why has it been so difficult to see that our needs are met? I am an experienced teacher who came into the field later in life. After attending college at a non-traditional age, I have 3 certifications and recently completed my master's degree. When I was hired, I had a bachelor's plus 30 credits. A few months ago, my 26-year-old daughter surpassed my pay by nearly $20,000. For many years, I looked the other way and figured that things would get sorted soon enough. This time around, I must say that I am disgusted by what I see in the Nashua Board of Education, whether it is during meetings or during this negotiation. I, for the first time in 16 years, am truly considering my other options, looking for districts that treat their employees fairly, like the professionals we are. We were recently told that not only does the negotiating team want to compromise our union, but they have retracted the agreed-upon salary negotiation. Wow, just wow. When I think about professionalism, that certainly doesn't fit the bill. I urge the Nashua Board of Education, along with the negotiating team, to work together to settle this contract fairly and professionally. Take in mind what we, your public servants, have been doing for you, your children, and your community, much of which goes above and beyond. I ask this sincerely as a teacher at Fairgrounds Middle School, a resident of Nashua, and a parent of a Nashua graduate. Thank you.
Thank you. Patricia Duffett.
Oh,
are you okay?
Are you okay?
Okay.
Hi, good morning, almost. Patty Duffett, 39 Yarmouth Drive, first grade teacher at Maine Dunstable. Something I try to incorporate into my teaching practice is asking questions. So I have a few for you. Why are you so gung-ho to include union busting or union weakening tactics into the teacher contract? You initially took the position that the union president costs Nashua taxpayers money, but that's not true. So then you said the city pays into the NTU president's retirement account. But since all is fully reimbursed, that's not true either. The third rationale you use to justify your union busting beliefs is that you have a philosophical problem with the position of the NTU president. Well, I want you to know that you're not the only ones with philosophical issues with this district, but we don't have time for all of us to go into those. Your fourth reason for wanting to take the power away from the union was to say that the president does no work for the district. If all he did was represent us in a contract negotiation, that would be enough to justify the job. And since your previous 4 lines of thought have not turned us against each other or our union president, you took it upon yourself to place a term limit on the office. Teachers vote for who represents us. If we want to have new representation after 2 years, we'll vote for somebody else. The decision to impose a union president's term limit should not be based on the opinion of 1 or 2 of you. My second question is, how do you plan to publicly justify regressing from a 4.1% increase in teacher salaries to a 3.9%? A few weeks ago, a social media blitz was sent out by a couple of you. An all call to Nashua families to toot your horns and let the public know that you are on the side of teachers and imply that our union president somehow is not. You now taking back a previously agreed upon, very public salary increase is insulting, and it makes me wonder what self-serving agenda you're preparing to pursue. My third question is, why can't we keep a superintendent in Nashua? We all know it's not because of the teachers. So what or who do you think could be the problem? I was hopeful when Dr. Mosley came on board that we would have a superintendent with potential longevity, and he could be the bridge between taxpayers, administrators, staff, and the Board of Education. But whatever was going on was so toxic, he left mid-year. I was hopeful again when Dr. McKinney came on board as interim superintendent, but I grow more and more frustrated with how curriculum is rolled out, professional development is handled, and how educators are often the punching bag for poorly implemented protocols. We can all agree that the last few years have been really hard. I go to bed every night knowing that I was my best self. I did my best job for my colleagues and my students. Can all of you say the same?
Thank you. Crystal King?
Hi, I'm Crystal. I live on Fairmont. I actually come as both a concerned parent and I don't know, just a community member. Sorry, I have fruit snacks because during your 2-hour filibuster over there, we got bored and hungry. So I have to agree with Patty. I know it's going to be a little weird, but about why can't we keep Dr. McKinney? Right? So like, I can tell you why, because he doesn't want to be here. It's very clear, very evident. I'm sorry, Dr. McKinney, I'm calling you out like that, but it is. Another thing that I find very discerning is the Project Succeed program. One, while I'm all like for getting kids involved with like Big Brother, Big Sister, even the Boys and Girls Club, hell, I'm a product of the Boys and Girls Club and the Nashua School District, not too proud to say that now. But I have a few problems with that. And one of them is that I have a high schooler who attends Franklin Street because he has some issues going on. And he frequently gets suspended. I mean, Dr. McKinney, Mr. Parker, we're pretty much on a first name basis at this point. But yeah, I don't agree. And as a mental health worker, I also don't agree. Because these kids, I can tell you my son is going to look you right in the face and laugh and say, that's bullshit. He's going to say, that's stupid. You know, he wants the day off. He wants to be home. Yeah, I think it's kind of, it's laughable, really. And they can't help somebody that has a persistent mental illness either, right? So they're not licensed therapists. They're not licensed mental health workers. They're advocates. They're youth advocates, not licensed. So yeah, but yeah, also pay the damn teachers. I wore blue by accident today, just so everyone is aware. 5 a.m. comes super early, but I did, and then, you know, as soon as I walked in, I was like, right, that's still going on. 6 months. Like, this is ridiculous. But yeah, but thank you, by the way, to the finance committee that's helping out Franklin Street School and getting their shit together, because they need it.
Thank you. Gary Hoffman?
Gary Hoffman, 38 Perham Street. I'd like to congratulate everybody in the audience. I think Crystal said it correctly, a 2-hour spot there. Man, can't believe we're all still here. Why are we still here talking? Well, it's for us, or it's this contract. I can't for the life of me figure out why we don't have a deal. It's really frustrating. I'd like to thank Regan for her motion. Really appreciate it, because we don't know what the heck to do. You know, a couple of weeks ago, you're really proud to post this public statement all over social media. You sent it to thousands of parents. You stated, in the second paragraph, the negotiating team met with the union in good faith and agreed to the union's requests for salary increases for all teachers, averaging 4.1% over 4 years, of a total of $11,127,000 and change. And then this week, we get another proposal that drops it to 3.94%. I'm not a lawyer like Vin isn't either, but I mean, if this is to bring us together, I mean, my goodness, come on, guys, we got to do better than this. If you're really concerned about the money, as if Adam's position costs millions of dollars or something, let me go over some numbers with you. The last contract, when we projected the cost, we thought it was going to cost $65,861,000. But because we refused to account for retirements, that cost always ends up being significantly less, a lot less. It ended up only being $63,930,000, nearly $2 million less. If you don't think people are retiring in the next 4 years, and those people are going to all be replaced by people on top of the scale, I got news for you. Probably going to be in the middle of the scale. So you're going to be, this contract's going to be at least $2 million less than what we're projecting. Furthermore, the clock is ticking. We agreed to health care concessions. They're going to save the city about $2.3 million, but that's only if we get a deal. If we don't come up with an agreement soon, my friends, open enrollment's coming around. We got to go to the Board of Aldermen. That takes 6 weeks. You are costing the city of Nashua millions of dollars in tax savings. This is about as penny wise and pound foolish as I've ever seen. Get your act together. Get this deal done for the 95,000 citizens of the city and the 10,000 students and parents, and for the teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. Alicia Houston? Actually, I'm sorry. It's just that another 15-minute needs to be extended.
So moved.
Ms. Johnson?
Second.
Ms. Gilio? Alicia, come on down.
You want me to wait? Do you need to vote?
Yeah, we need to vote. I just was teeing you up.
Oh, okay.
Just hold on.
Okay.
Mr. Clappy?
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Raymond is a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Ziem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Okay, we're good.
Go ahead.
Alicia Houston, Westwood Drive, Nashua. I had like a whole thing prepared to talk to you about, and I really feel like I need to go off the cuff. I appreciate how difficult this must be for you guys. I know the last 2 years have not been easy on any of you. I know I personally have not been easy on many of you. But I can't help but sit here and think, my, how the tables have turned. Being parents standing up here furious because the schools wouldn't open. Being furious that the teachers wanted to be vaccinated and they wanted us to come up with an agreement. And we worked with Mr. Marcoux and we sent an email and we made sure that it was sent up to the state to try to get you guys bumped up. So when I hear the words consistency coming from teachers right now, all I can think of is the kids have had nothing
in any form of consistency for 2+ years. Nothing. They have been forced into remote learning, which we were there from March of 2020 to April of 2021. Why were we there? Because the teachers union wanted to make sure that their staff was vaccinated, and we as the parents even backed it up. Now we have teachers who are saying that nobody is being fair and just, but when we did that as parents, we were labeled domestic terrorists, and our lives were turned into upheaval. And the teachers made their comments and made the things. I understand teachers do a heck of a lot of work, and I get it and I appreciate it. But when you entered into this job, you knew that it was a lower paying job. When you went to college for it, they told you these things. You made a passionate decision, and I commend you on it. It's not a decision that I would have made, but to see everybody here saying, well, we're not being fair and we're not thinking about the teachers, when honestly we've been thinking about you guys for the last 2 years. We were called a teacher sacrificing cult because we wanted you guys to go back to work. So regardless, it doesn't matter. The negotiation team gave you an offer, you refused it, you walked away from the table, or somebody walked away from the table, so it starts all over. And let's not even get started with the fact that, yes, your contract is expired. I understand that. However, keep in mind that you still are getting paid. You still have benefits. Your contract will go retroactive. What about the parents of the children that had to quit their jobs? What about them? What about the kids who had to miss out on an education because somebody couldn't get bumped up on a list? Can I continue? Because I know a couple of other, just 2 more points and then I'm done.
2 more points, hurry up.
Okay. So the last point was, you have some teachers here that have parents so afraid to speak up at meetings like this because children are being targeted. I can tell you this because my child was targeted.
So I need to remind you, if you have complaints about teachers, it needs to go up to administration.
Yep, so I'm working on it, and I'm at a stalemate. So, but when students are being followed around because of a mask policy, and these teachers, I really hope that no one's laughing behind me. Like, I really am hoping that no one's laughing. Nobody laughed when you guys came up here and whined.
Okay, Alicia, come on. Okay. I want to listen to you.
The issue is you have students who are high stressed, okay? They've had no consistency, no nothing, and you're talking about poor behavior. Well, unfortunately, children who need the love ask for it in the most unloving ways. So maybe if you get back to work and do your jobs and work out some negotiation, and in the meantime, suck it up like the rest of the world, because we've been doing it for 2 years.
Thank you. Pradeep, I am so sorry. Pradati, oh my gosh. Modaraku. Pradati Modaratu. Is that better? Can you help me later?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Pradati Moderagu.
Thank you.
Speak right into the microphone. Oh, sorry. I live on 6 Bayberry Circle, and I'm a junior from Nashua High School South. I just wanted to bring up something that my peer May said. It's about the discontinuity of learning. I got COVID over winter vacation, and I was sick for a total of 10 days, and I missed 5 days of school. And it took me almost 2 weeks to recover the work that I missed because of the rigor of the classes I'm taking, and that's not not the teacher's fault, simply mine because of how hard it is. But I also wasn't able to recover any of do any of the work while I was not sick and still quarantining at home because I was not able to access any of the work, and I think it would be a good idea to implement asynchronatic learning for the kids that are sick, just so that they don't fall behind as much as I did, because I also got an ear infection when I came back to school for 3 days, and I had to go on to antibiotics, and I was scared of missing school again because finals and midterms came up recently. I did thankfully well on all of them, but it was really hard on me because I missed so much school and was still sick, but still trying in school. So I think it would be better to implement something for kids that are sick, just so that they don't have to go through the amount of stress that I was put through. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Hunter Porter.
Hi, my name's Hunter Porter. I live at 5 Hazel Ave, and I'm a junior. I'm also a junior at Nashua South. And I would just like to mention my support for the teachers union. I actually am wearing blue today, although accidentally. I would like to echo Samay's point that a strong union is vital for our learning as students, and that when you have teachers who have a strong contract, who have a fair contract, they are better teachers. They want to be there. They want to teach the students. We've heard our teachers talk about how upset they are that they can't continue to work past their contract hours. And that is not the fault of the union. That is the fault of the board for not voting for a fair contract that our teachers deserve. They deserve a better contract. And I hope that for the sake of our teachers and our students, that negotiations will come to an end soon with fair contracts. And I also would just like to respond to the point that the speaker before Pragati made, where she said that teachers accepted the job knowing that they would have low pay. They didn't accept the pay jobs. They didn't accept that job to not have a contract. They didn't accept that job to be belittled by their superiors and the people who should be supporting and uplifting them. And they did not enter their job to be tortured by students because of this pandemic that we're all living in. And so I would like to say that from the students, we support you, and that it may not feel like it, but the majority of the students do support you, and I hope we can get a fair contract. Thank you.
Thank you. Maura Harrington.
Hi, Maura Harrigan, 80 Cox Street. I am a 5th grade teacher at Charlotte Avenue. I'm a mother of a graduate of North in 2021. This is my 27th year teaching here in Nashua, and I've been a building rep for years. And at our last meeting, when we were talking about this contract, and that this is the first time that it's not about financials. I mean, when I saw Mayor Donches get up and tell you that not only can they, will they pass it, they can afford it. So, you know, I was trying to explain to the newer teachers in my building that this is about weakening our union, which I'm going to tell you right now is the absolute one thing that has been absolutely consistent my 27 years here in Nashua is the strength and the passion of the Nashua Teachers Union. Superintendent's office is not consistent, as we all know. It's like a revolving door. The Board of Education, I don't know if you've watched the tapes from, you know, the remote learning and when you were being taped during that. Not a good look for Nashua. Just a scene that anybody would want to be a part of. And yet we are being told that we didn't work hard during that remote learning, which we did. So there's a lot of mistrust right now. What I want to say to you is 4 years ago, I stood before this board when we were renegotiating a contract and it was late again. And I told you that my colleagues in their 30s were starting to go to other districts and making $10,000 to $12,000 a year, more than they were in Nashua. And that if we didn't change things here, that trend was going to continue. And it did. So we have lost a real lot of that middle of the road teachers, and the newer ones that have replaced them are now looking and saying, do I want to be a part of this? Do I want to be a part of a system that every time a contract comes up, we have to go through this fight again? And what makes it so much worse this time is that we worked so hard to bring education to students during a pandemic that nobody had control over. So it just kind of adds to the angst. And I've always loved my years here. I love the families I work with, the kids I work with. My daughter had a fabulous education here because of the teachers. And I think you're losing sight of that. And I think the public needs to know that this has nothing to do about finances. This is all about weakening our union. And you don't want that to happen because we are the only strength here in Nashua right now, giving a very sound, excellent education to the children of this city. So to really hold this up and make people want to leave is a detriment to a city that I didn't grow up in, but I have raised my own child here and I have loved. for years. So please, do the right thing. Really look at this contract and pass it through so that we can all move forward and actually get some really good things done. Because 27 years ago when I came to Nashua, it was innovative, it was creative, it was the district that everybody in New Hampshire wanted to work for. And that is not the case now. We are at the bottom of the barrel for the new teachers coming out and looking for jobs. And I just want you to really help us get it back on track. We need to work together. You need to pass this contract. You need to stop trying to weaken our union, because I'm telling you right now, in 27 years, you're not going to win that fight. We are strong in solidarity now and always. And that's all I'm going to say for right now. Please do the right thing.
Thank you. And that now ends our public comment section number 2. We move on to board members' comments. I'll just go around the horseshoe. Ms. Johnson?
Thank you very much. I want to thank everybody for coming out again in the cold. I want to say to Ms. Darling, I hope she feels better. I could feel her pain from December when I couldn't talk and I was sick. So I hope she feels better. And everybody stay warm. Thank you.
Ms. Lamfair?
For coming. Sorry, our non-public meeting was so long. I've said before here that I believe that teachers are the heart of our school district, and I will stand by that always.
Thank you. Ms. Giglio?
Thank you all for coming out tonight and speaking your truth.
Mr. Claffey?
Mr. Claffey?
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Okay, I'm not on my headphones now. Let me know if I'm inaudible. When I decided to run for the board because I care deeply about our students and teachers and staff. These are my constituencies. And I voted for the motion to change the negotiating team because I'm not sure I understand who this team perceives to be, whom this team perceives to be their constituency. Over the past few weeks, I've received dozens of emails, and not a single one was in support of changes to Appendix I. 0 were in opposition to the cost of the proposal, despite the fact that financial details were made public in the Nashua Patch 3 weeks ago. And to those parents and teachers who emailed us to get this contract done, I heard you. Thank you.
Sorry, thank you. I have no comment, just thank you for all coming out. Ms. Raymond?
Thank everybody for coming. Yeah, I have no further comments right now.
Ms. Brown?
Thank you. I wanted to make a comment on the young lady who got up to speak. I just wanted to let you know that I completely agree with you. I think we should do a better job of making sure students who are either quarantining or homesick, not just for COVID, for anything, have access to their curriculum. So, because I think that can be a really difficult thing for kids falling behind. So I think that's something we really should address sometime soon in policy or maybe in curriculum and education. We can maybe talk to administration to see how we can follow up a little bit more, better on that. So thank you very much. Thank you everyone for braving the cold to come out this evening, and good night.
Ms. Ziem?
I hope you'll be patient with me. I think a lot of you were talking to me tonight, and I try very hard to be courteous of all of you. When I think about this whole issue, who do I represent? I represent everybody in Nashua, whether they're a student, whether they're a parent, whether they're a senior, whether they're a teacher, whether they're whoever they are, the entirety. I represent all of them. And when I look at negotiating, I look to the greater good. I also have to tell you that a lot of this issue is really not about this board, because in my view, you can't spend money that you don't get, that you don't have. And the bottom line is that we are one of the property poor taxes. Yes, unfortunately, Amherst and Hollis, they can pay you whatever they choose to because they're property tax rich. I mean, they have $1 million houses on every corner, multi-million-dollar houses, I should say, in Hollis especially. Having said that, I just want you to bear in mind that we cannot spend, I've always been I've always been frugal because I have never had much. And so I learned long ago that you don't spend what you don't have. And when if I give it to you and I have to take it away from the resources of the school. So I want to go into this whole wage thing. And I'm going to simplify it, and it's not to say that what I say will be every dollar will be exactly right there. It is concept that I'm trying to get across to you, or trying my side of the concept, if you will, because it may be very different from your side, and that's all right. In this country, it's all right to disagree. At least that's the way I feel. And so when I look at the budget, again, for simplification purposes, $10 million over 4 years, that's 2.5, that's 2.5 every year. If the most we ever get in increases, again, is $2 million, and I have, now, Dan mentioned one time when it was a little over 2. I don't remember that. I remember it was always less than 2. But if it were 2 and we get 2.5, that leaves us half short. So where's that half going to come from? And I appreciate what you're saying, Gary, but it has never been my experience that we didn't have to cut something when it came to budget time. Never been my experience. And unfortunately, it always ends up in the classroom. It always ends up, we cut a para, we cut a teacher, it does not end up that we cut other things. It just always seems to come right out of the classroom. And who pays the price? When you have poverty like we have in Nashua, and I believe we have 60% poverty of our students. I believe it's that bad. But it depends on what you consider poverty. They say poverty is $20,000 a year for a family of 4. That's ridiculous. That's not poverty. $30,000, $40,000 is still, in my view, not enough to support in Nashua a family. Having said that, this money that we're going to be short, it's going to have to come from somewhere, and we're going to have to cut. So I asked myself, who am I hurting? Well, I'm hurting those 44% of our kids who can't read when they leave the high schools. I'm hurting going to this Project Succeed. What a wonderful project that is, because we're trying to, we don't have the resources to do it the way it should be done. That's the bottom line. But this is a way that we can do it. We can help these kids who come from poverty, who, 3 kids living in a one-bedroom house with their family. I mean, we're seeing 3 families in a house. So as to me being a union, both my daughters are teachers, and my one daughter in particular had an issue, and it was the union that supported her. I have on a blue sweater, by the way, folks, and I really have to tell you, it offends me, and maybe I shouldn't be so sensitive, that you would say that I am a union buster, because when my daughter needed help, if I were a teacher, I would join the union. That's the best thing I can say for it. So it's not about busting the union. It's about trying to do the best I can for everybody, and the resources are just not here. And again, this thing about, well, you agreed to it, and now you're taking it away. I'm not taking it away. I'm just saying we can't afford everything. We cannot afford everything. It's too much. So you come and tell us where you want us, where it's best taken. You could, and maybe it's my fault. Maybe I admit I'm human. I make mistakes. I do. I make mistakes. And if you're looking for perfection, I'm sorry, I don't have it to give you. But you do get my best effort. Whether you believe that or not, I give everything I have to give to try to be the best board member that I can be. And it really is, we're just not given sufficient money to do everything that needs to be done, should be done, that other towns can do. I remember one of the teachers, middle-level teacher, left the district because we couldn't afford. Went to Amherst, and he made a humongous raise. It was anybody in the right mind that had that opportunity would have to take it. I don't care how much you love Nashua. You got to feed your family. You've got to take care of your own. So I am certainly not. I'm certainly not. And I have all kinds of things here. But again, every negotiation I went into, it was impressed upon me that it is the whole contract that we agree to. And so, you know, if there's a better place in that contract that you think we could make some cuts and come to an agreement, you come back and suggest to us. But what I hear you saying is that you're not going, that you can't, that you don't want to cut anything, you're not willing to cut. You know, what can I say? And maybe I'm not saying it well. If I'm not, I apologize. But that's you know. And to say, let me say this to you, going back to the remarks about, you know, we said, I don't think I never said anyway, I certainly can't say what anybody else said, but I don't believe I ever said that the union didn't do anything for the city. What I said was that the union not that the president represents you, as he should. I sell real estate. If I end up representing the person who is not the person that I'm working for, they would take my license. So I am very aware that it would be wrong for anybody to misrepresent who they represent. So it's not about the individual. And I do believe there are costs in that insurance that may not be obvious to the eye. Like I've had this disagreement with people over the email. The insurance, we are self-funded. So if the president's family, somebody gets really sick and it costs more than they pay in, is that a liability to the taxpayer? I don't know. I'm asking you. I'm happy to talk about these things. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe we haven't been talking enough to each other. And if that's the case, please let me know, because I have lots of hot hair. I'm sure you all know that. So, and having said that, please know that I love our teachers. It is, for the most part, you come back, same people over and over, giving your heart and soul to it. I do, there are other things that I could say, but I won't. I'm sure you're all ready to go to bed. It's been a long night. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Ms. Ziem. Our next board meeting is Monday, February 21st, here at 6 o'clock. I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Whoa, guys.
I will second.
Was not ready for that energy
And I have to
level.
call the roll. I have to call the roll.
Johnson and Gilio.
Okay, so, hold on, I gotta find the roll again. Okay, Mr. Claffey.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Gilio.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Lampier.
Yes.
Ms. Brown.
Yes.
Ms. Ziem. Ms. Johnson.
Absolutely.
Ms. Bishop.
Yep. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Night. Night.
It's 10:45.
Thank you.
You know where your parents are.
I'm going to hang you up now.